Diana's sister and others are remembering her loss and sharing their pain from 20 years ago. All rumors were confirmed by Princess Diana's sister. After Princess Diana's death, rumors about her life, difficulties, and mysteries persisted for decades. From royal battles to secret realities, suspicions continued. Diana's sister, Sarah McCorquodale, 60, has now spoken up, confirming what many thought for years. She said, "What? How does it alter all we knew? Come discover the truth behind Princess Diana's long-standing rumors." Princess Diana and Lady Sarah McCorquodale were close because of their aristocratic upbringing. Though wealthy and privileged, their childhood was far from perfect. They were born into the Spencer family, one of Britain's most prominent, and spent their childhood at Althorpe House, their ancestral home. Their affluent lifestyles hid emotional problems that formed them. The third daughter of John Spencer, Viscount Althorpe, and Frances Spencer, Viscountess, was Diana. She had Sarah, Jane, and Charles, her older sisters and younger brother. Diana and her siblings were close to the royal family from an early age because they lived at Park House, a Sandringham estate property leased from Queen Elizabeth II. Their home was full of tension and strife, despite their beautiful surrounds. Their parents' marriage broke up when Diana was 6 due to various issues. Diana and her siblings were greatly affected by John and Frances' harsh and public divorce. She felt abandoned and lonely. Unlike her childhood, when both parents were alive, she now had a broken home. As Diana's oldest sibling, Sarah tried to help, even though she realized no one could replace both parents' love and stability. The divorce complicated matters further. The court ordered Diana and her siblings back to live with their father at Althorpe House after their mother lost custody of them in London. Diana's heart was deeply wounded by their mother's absence, and their connection deteriorated. Frances' remarriage increased their distance. Diana missed her mother's love and felt like she had lost it forever. At Althorpe House, life was beautiful and lonely. The large estate had beautiful gardens and architecture, but Diana often felt alone there. Despite loving her, her father was less emotional. Diana lived with her mother's absence for the rest of her life. Young Diana, Sarah, Jane, and Charles spent a lot of time together. They were nurtured in a rigorous but wealthy environment to behave like aristocrats. Despite the ceremonial environment, the siblings' connection was typical. Sarah, the oldest, naturally led, while Jane was more reticent and autonomous. Charles, the youngest and only son, was treated differently as the Spencer heir. Diana, caught in the middle, often felt she had to find her own way. Even though they were together, Diana felt different from her siblings. She was more emotional and kept her sentiments to herself. Sarah and Jane were gregarious, while Diana was shy and insecure. She desired love and acceptance, but she didn't always belong. Diana was homeschooled by her governess, Gertrude Allen, before attending Silfield Private School in Norfolk and Riddlesworth Hall School, a preparatory school near Thatford. She attended Westheath Girls' School in Kent, with her sisters at 9. Sarah and Jane did well at school, but Diana struggled. She felt inferior to her siblings after failing her O-levels twice. Diana was strong outside the classroom. She loved music and dance, especially ballet and tap. These pursuits provided her joy and self-expression she couldn't always find elsewhere. She was an accomplished pianist. Her inherent grace set her apart. She stood out for her generosity and compassion despite her academic challenges. She was considered the people's princess because she was gentle and understood people's emotions. Diana was honored for her community spirit and caring in Westheath. She connected with everyone, from struggling classmates to staff members. Even as a child, her warmth made people feel safe and understood. Diana's official education wound down at 16. Her short stay at Swiss Finishing School Institute, Alpine Vidomine, was brief. After one semester, she returned to London to start a new life. Diana worked to establish her own identity, unlike many aristocratic young women who relied on family riches. Diana worked several jobs to support herself after moving in with two school pals. She taught children dancing, nannied for an American family, and then became a nursery assistant at the Young England School in Pimlico. Though mundane, Diana's employment showed her passion for children and innate aptitude to care for others. Before becoming a princess, she exhibited the attributes that made her beloved worldwide. Despite her independence, Diana was close to her siblings, especially Sarah. Their childhood relationship endured. Sarah always supported Diana quietly, even as their lives diverged. Diana's life was changing, even though she rarely mentioned their relationship. Yet she had no idea how much things would change. She first met Prince Charles at 16 in 1977. While staying at Althorp House, Charles experienced this. Diana was a shy youngster, and Charles was famous in Britain. Their brief meeting changed their future in ways no one could have foreseen. They met again after a few years. This time, everything changed. Diana had matured, and Charles saw her differently. They started dating, and their relationship became one of the most talked about royal romances in history, attracting global attention. This is the most intriguing aspect. Prince Charles-Spencer siblings relationship. Prince Charles dated Diana's older sister Sarah before Diana. Sarah was briefly involved with Charles in the late 1970s and is 6 years older than Diana. However, their romance ended, and she accepted her sister's engagement with Charles. Sarah later told The Guardian that she introduced Diana to him. In summer 1980, Charles began to take Diana seriously. They were invited to a rural weekend. He first showed interest in her then. She was invited to sail on the Royal Yacht Britannia soon after. So he took her to Balmoral Castle to meet his family. Charles pursued her because the Queen, Prince Philip, and Queen Mother liked her. On February 6, 1981, he proposed at Windsor Castle. They kept Diana's yes a secret for over 2 weeks. They confirmed their engagement on February 24, 1981. Once Charles became her fiancé, Diana left her nursery assistant job and moved into Clarence House, the Queen Mother's home. She felt lonely in Buckingham Palace after moving there. According to historian Ingrid Seward, Diana struggled with solitude and strain. She had little independence after marrying the future king. But she made history in many ways. She married the heir for the first time in 300 years in England. She was also the first royal bride to work before her engagement. She met Princess Grace of Monaco at a charity ball in March 1981, her first formal appearance with Charles. After a few months, she married Charles at St. Paul's Cathedral on July 29, 1981, becoming Princess of Wales. One of the biggest weddings ever. About 600,000 people lined the streets to see her, while 750 million watched the ceremony on TV. Even if everything seemed magical, there were minor hints of strain. At the altar, Diana mispronounced Charles Philip as Philip Charles. She also skipped the promise to obey her spouse, which was unusual at the time. She had a 25-foot train in her £9,000 bridal dress. Diana was given the Queen Mary's Lovers, not tiara, after the wedding to welcome her into the family. Charles and Diana moved into Kensington Palace and Highgrove House, but their marriage was faltering beneath the grandeur and smiles. In November 1981, Diana was pregnant. In January 1982, while 12 weeks pregnant, she fell down Sandringham stairs. She eventually admitted to throwing herself in despair and frustration. It bruised her, but the baby was unhurt. She gave birth to Prince William on June 21, 1982. The newborn prince debuted less than 24 hours after birth. She developed postpartum depression, which was secret at the time. She was overwhelmed, but wanted to raise her son differently from previous royals. Diana insisted on taking William on her first foreign visit to Australia and New Zealand when he was tiny. Most royal newborns stayed home, but Diana took him. She looked more like a modern mother, therefore many liked it. She had Prince Harry on September 15, 1984. Princess Diana and Prince Charles had their second son on Saturday. Diana later said she and Charles were closest throughout Harry's pregnancy. Shortly after his birth, their marriage ended again. Charles wished for a daughter. Diana concealed the fact that she was pregnant with another boy until birth. She said Charles's reaction upset her profoundly, and their connection cooled further. Diana decided how to raise her kids. She chose their names, fired a bad royal nanny, and recruited her own. She chose their schools, clothes, and schedules. She took them to school whenever she could, unlike other royal parents. By 1987, the media noticed Charles and Diana's matrimonial strain. The tabloids dubbed them the Glums because they rarely seemed pleased together. Diana ultimately faced Camilla at her sister's reception in 1989. Charles reunited with Camilla Parker Bowles in 1986. Diana also began an affair with her riding instructor, James Hewitt. Due of their red hair, rumors grew that Hewitt was Harry's father. Hewitt disputed it, stating he met Diana 2 years after Harry was born. On December 9, 1992, Prime Minister John Major confirmed Charles and Diana's separation. Though officially married, they no longer lived together. Diana later confessed to loving Barry Manicky, a security guard. She was saddened when he was unexpectedly transferred. Years later, in hidden videos, she said she would leave everything for him.